Welcome back to Grassroots Media. Welcome back to this week's edition of the Greeneville Federal Bank Eddie Spradlen Show, where we cover everything on the field here at Burley Stadium with the Greeneville Greene Devil football team. As always, I'm joined here with head coach Eddie Spradlen. Coach, how you doing this afternoon?
Good. Thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely. I'm sure you're pretty excited after Friday night's win over Elizabethton, 23-13 inside of Citizens Bank Stadium. We talked about it last week where we previewed it. Everybody knew the stakes heading into it. It was the big one. You were able to come out with a win on Friday night. How good of a feeling was that?
I mean, just a big-time feeling, to get a big win like that. And, didn't let nobody down with the game. It was the game everybody wanted to see. So, defensive battle there and both offenses trying to get points on the board. But what an exciting game. Anytime you can say you're the region champs, that's pretty special, especially when we got it back on top for, 3 years in a row here.
And it was a crazy game of sorts, too, because the final score was 23-13, and a lot of those points came on back-to-back drives. I know you were able to open up the game with a touchdown to put yourself up 6-0, and then you got an interception from Drew Armbrister that gave you the ball back. Then you were able to put another touchdown on the board to make it 13-0. Then for a little while, it kind of stayed quiet. They were able to tie the game. It took them a while to tie the game at 13-13 early in the fourth quarter, and then you were able to score 10 more points in the fourth quarter. You went a little while without scoring points in the second and third quarters. What went wrong in those quarters? Were they able to scheme you up on defense really well? What was the problem in those two quarters?
We had a chance to really put the game out of reach there at one point when we were, driving and we had a fumble, and then we went for another time, we were driving, we threw an interception on fourth down, I think it was, and then we turned one over on downs there in the third quarter where we're moving the football, and quarterback keeps it, and one of our guys had made a block and was on the ground, and he tripped over him. If he wouldn't have tripped, we would have probably walked in for a touchdown. But, it's versus a really good football team. That's the type of game you're going to play. And, I feel like we left some points off the board, but at the end of the day, really proud. Like we talked about last week, they only gave up 7 points to really quality football teams, and we were able to score, some points against a good team and get it up on the scoreboard, and had a chance to score some more that we should kind of left off there. But really excited how we played on both sides of the ball and in our special teams game.
I think that was one of your keys to the game last week, was that you needed to put points on the board, and you were able to do that early with those early touchdowns in the first quarter. How crucial was it to get those touchdowns?
It was big for us to take the ball and be able to drive it down and get in the end zone. We don't want to give up points in that first quarter all year, and if we can do that, we get us on the board and just get us up by a touchdown in a big game. It gives us a little more momentum, just feeling good about everything. So really excited how we started the game off and be able to get the points on the board. Then you get a big interception by Drew Armbrister, give us another opportunity to get on the board. And we glad they didn't cost us. We didn't step down like we should on the PAT there, and they blocked the PAT, but we were able to fight back and get back in the game at the end with a big run by Carson Quillen.
Something that we've talked about all year that we failed to mention so far: Region 1 4A champions.
Yeah.
Back to back to back, 3 years in a row now. You told me after the game, after dominating that region for so many years, Elizabethton took it for 2 years in 2019 and 2020. You were able to get it back 3 years in a row now. How good does it feel to be able to sit on that throne again as champions?
That's our goal every year. We want to be Region 1 4A champs, and because it sets you up for a good road in the playoffs. Whoever's number 2 in this region has to go play number 1 in the second round, so it makes it tough. I'm glad that those two teams are playing each other in the second round. Gives us, they have to play each other before hopefully beat each other up if we get an opportunity to play them. But just to be able to do that, that's what, for a long time, what we did for, probably 12 years in a row, we were region champs. Then for 2 years we didn't win it. It was a lot of hurt feelings and angry people, I'm sure. But, to be able to do it 3 years in a row against a really good football team in Elizabeth, and, the past, what they've done with their program since really 2019. It started probably 2018. They, gave us a good battle during the regular season. in 2018, and they just continue to get better. And like we talked about last week, Coach Witten gives a lot of credit how he runs his program based on what we've done to be successful when we've been really good. So, it's made us get back on top and doing things a little bit better, and, we're excited where we're at right now.
I believe it's much sweeter to win it on their home field also.
Yeah, for sure. To go there, like you talked about last week, that's a tough place to go play. Not many teams go there and win. For us to be able to go there, and I'm not going to say we dominated the game, but, we were in control of the game. It was as physical a game we've played all year, and just two really good football teams getting after it. And, excited about where we're at right now, for sure.
I want to talk about some individual performances too. I don't know if you can label this the Carson Quillen game, but, man, what a game he had.
Yeah, really played really hard. We got him in on there on defense as well. He played more snaps on defense than he's played, and he's in there. We give him the ball, and he's running the hard, and, we put him out at receiver, and, we're just trying to get him where we think we can take advantage of, different things, get him the ball.
He had 159 rushing yards, 29 receiving yards, 5 passing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, and a passing touchdown to Zach Chrisman. He accounted for every single touchdown you had, whether it was on the ground or through the air. What did you have in your playbook that allowed him to get open on offense, to be able to bust through those holes, and what was the mindset that you had putting him at quarterback too on that one play?
We worked that during the week. That's something we felt like, he's the most explosive runner back there that we've got. So when we get him in the backfield at quarterback, it just makes them, because you get to bring in Dixon or Myers in there, two big time hard runners that people don't want to tackle much. So it just makes us a little more dynamic there. But I feel like he stepped in there and did a really good job in whatever role we put him in. We got to have other guys step in there and do stuff, and, putting him out receiver kind of, gets a little attention out there. Then we can bust some stuff at running back with those other guys as well.
I got to ask you about the big play too. 74-yard touchdown, and it came at possibly the most opportune time that it could have, because, as we mentioned, you were up 13-0 early in the first quarter. Had some troubles on offense. They were able to reel you back in. Tied the game 13-13 with about 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. The very first play from scrimmage after that, Carson busted it upfield for 74 yards on a touchdown. Great blocking on that play. He found a hole, made a few guys miss too. Talk about that certain play. And do you think that's the biggest play in your season up to this point?
That's a huge play right there. And we've talked about it during film in there when our team meeting on Monday. Carson had a great run, but it started because of all the stuff that the offensive line was doing. It was a great block by the tight end right there. The offensive line did a really good job coming off, and those receivers did a great job. Darian Samples comes from the backside of the run and gets over there and gets in the way and gets a good block to spring him free out there at the end. When Carson cuts it back across the field. Zayden Anderson's down there blocking, and we got different. C.J. Reyes is down there. Trailing him to get in the end zone. So tremendous job by our offensive line. I can't brag on them enough how good they played, how physical they played against the top defensive line we've probably seen all year. And they two really good defensive ends. They rotated another DN in there. Big defensive tackles, athletic. So really proud of how the whole team played on that play for sure.
That was also one of your keys to the game last week, is being able to control that line of scrimmage against Elizabethton, who was probably the better D-line that you've seen so far this year too, and a big O-line. But if we talk about Carson Quillen and what a game and what a play he had, what a kick by Quentin Brandon. Yeah. 48 yards. He'd kicked the 47-yarder earlier this year. But you put him on the field in a spot where he could ice the game with the distance that he's not hit before. What was your mindset going through that, and how much confidence did you have in him to kick that ball?
Obviously we got a tremendous amount of confidence in Quentin because, he kicked a 47-yarder earlier in the year. And, what he does in practice, and his strong leg. And, we try to rest him some to keep him fresh during the week of practice so he's good to go on Friday nights. But, we got in that situation. At that point, we were up 7, had the football, and, we're in scoring position. We felt like we could probably get a stop get a first down and the game would be over right there. Just not enough time to run it back. But, we felt like, Quentin deserved that. What Quentin done for this football team, he deserved the opportunity to put the game away. And, I told him, I said, it's on you, big boy. Here you go. So, he stepped in there. Nothing bothered him. They called the timeout there, try to ice him a little, and, he steps in there and hammers it.
I talked to him after the game, and he told me the distance wasn't what bothered him. It was just keeping his head down and kicking it through. And you look at the field goal afterwards, I mean, he's 100% correct. He had that good from probably 53, 54 yards. It wasn't like it barely squeaked over the crossbar. I mean, he kicked it good. It went through there. Sure. He had no problem making that too. That puts you up by 10. Iced the game, as we mentioned, because then that puts Elizabethton behind by 10 with very few minutes to go where you have to score, get the onside kick, and then score again. He puts the game away. The defense, though, that's the last thing I want to talk about, winning the turnover battle. That's something that you have to do against big football teams like Elizabethton, and you were able to do that. I think you won the turnover battle 3-2 with those 3 interceptions. We mentioned the one from Drew Armbrister, and then Adarian Samples had one going into halftime when they made a heave towards the end zone, and then you had one by Thomas Lawler very early into the second half too. Talk about how crucial it was to get those 3 interceptions and give the ball back to your offense and keep them off the field.
Yeah, it was big. Like we talked about, they are explosive on offense, got a good run-on game attack, a big offensive line, quarterback doing a really good job. And for us to be able to pick him off 3 times was big for us. It gets us back to the ball back to our offense, and we were able to capitalize on some of them turnovers to get points on the board. And it just, like you said, it keeps them off the ball. The ball's in our hand, and we're able to, control that clock a little. And, like I said, we talked about last week, if we got a punt on 4th down, it's not a bad thing. Mm-hmm. We had a couple punts the other night, but really proud of, how those guys played on both sides of the ball. And you mentioned defense right there, just lights out, relentless effort to the ball, really physical. You got to talk about, when you're talking about defense on, obviously Drew Armbrister and Emmanuel Dixon played really good at linebacker, but what about dang Bryson Myers, how hard he played at defensive end? They're holding him every play. I don't think they called it against him one time. I saw a picture in the paper that had somebody grabbed him by the back of the horse collar there. So a tremendous job by those guys. We had a really good job by the defensive front guys. All those guys stepped in there. We rotated a lot of guys in there. Excited how they played, and the secondary played really lights out as well.
Won the yards battle in offense too, 292 to 247. You were able to hold them to 247 and 13 points, which I don't think anybody can say they did that to Elizabethton this year, and nobody else can say that they beat Elizabethton this year. But you guys, Region 1 4A champs, 3 years in a row now. Going into the playoffs, get to play here at beautiful Burley Stadium. Got Fulton coming in this week. We'll go ahead and talk about that after the break here in just a minute on Grassroots Media.
Pizza Inn's new Right Way Buffet is open and ready for you and your family. Now with new garlic buttery crust and stuffed crust pizza, along with salads and desserts. It's the best part of your day. The all-day, everyday buffet. Only at Pizza Inn Greeneville.
Tommy's Plumbing has provided professional plumbing services to the residents of Greeneville, Tennessee for over 30 years. Our experience and reputation have helped us grow our business to add locations in Jonesboro, Tennessee. Tommy's Plumbing is local and family owned, and we offer a full line of plumbing services, such as kitchen faucet, shower faucets, commodes, and bathroom faucets, as well as drain cleaning. We also provide outside plumbing work, such as septic and sewer drain cleanouts, as well as repair and replace. Tommy's Plumbing pretty much does it all. Tommy's Plumbing is licensed, bonded, and insured. Our quality workmanship and passion to provide our clients with expert service is second to none. We guarantee we have the best warranty around. For all your plumbing needs, give Tommy's a call at 638-3662.
Welcome back to Grassroots Media, and welcome back to this week's edition of the Greeneville Federal Bank Eddie Spradlen Show, where we cover everything on the field here at Burley Stadium with the Greeneville Greene Devils. As always, I'm here with Greene Devils head coach Eddie Spradlen. So the good news is now you're in the playoffs. Everybody's 0-0. It's a brand new season now. You've got a potential to play 5 more games this year, and the good news is you've got a potential to play 4 of those here at Burley Stadium. You got the first one of those this week here in round 1 against Fulton. Tell me what you expect out of them this upcoming Friday night.
big time matchup. They're a team that don't have the greatest record. They're the 4th seed down there, but it's a team that's been in every football game this year. They played GP to the wire, and you know what kind of team you're going to get in GP with what they've able to play this year. So excited to be at home. Like you said, we got an opportunity if we can keep on winning to play 4 here at Burley Stadium. What a great home field advantage for us. But the Fulton team is going to be an explosive team. It's got a lot of players. They got an opportunity. Anytime they touch the ball, they got a chance to take it to the house. So be a big time challenge for us. They got a big defensive line, explosive defense. So really excited about the opportunity.
Greeneville and Fulton have had some classic battles over the years too,
to say the least.
Yes, that's one of those that everybody used to always circle on their calendar during playoff time too. I assume that they're going to run some of the same sets on offense and defense that you're used to seeing over those classic battles over the years. What do you expect to see out of them on offense?
On offense, they're going to spread you out. They've got really explosive receivers out there on the edge. A quarterback that's got a really strong arm, and he's a really good runner. He likes to throw it downfield, but he likes to run it as well. So you got to make sure you're playing him at quarterback. You can't, just a lot of times you can not worry about that quarterback as a runner, but he's a guy you better focus on as a runner as well as a thrower. So it's a tremendous challenge for our secondary to make sure we stay in coverage when they throw it out. But they got a good running back, really good receivers, and they're going to spread you out, and they're going 2x2, 3x1 formations are what they're going to kind of rely on.
Whenever you step on the field on offense, what kind of formations are you going to be looking at on the turf?
They're going to get out there and they're going to be in a 3 front. They're going to play a lot of man coverage, so they're going to try to bring some pressure and man you up. So we got to do a good job of, our offensive staff's done a great job coming up with a good plan. So really excited about that, as well as, our guys get the opportunity to get the ball in their hands. We got to make sure and take advantage of it.
How excited are you to be able to play here at Burley Stadium in the playoffs? Because you know how exciting it is to play in the playoffs. How excited are you that you get 4 out of your possible 5 games here at home?
That's a tremendous opportunity for this football team. To play here, with the Jumbotron and, the home field advantage, everything to the fans and everything to, the exciting environment on Friday nights. It's a tough place for visiting teams to come and play. So we're excited to be here, and, hopefully we can continue to play from week to week. Our goal right now is just to beat Fulton, be 1-0, and see where we can take this thing.
And as always, too, end of every interview, what are your 3 keys to success that you need this week against Fulton?
One big thing is we got to make sure we don't turn the football over. That's a big – for us, we continue to go forward. We can't turn that thing over in big games. We had 2 last week that, luckily it didn't cost us. But, it's 2 opportunities that we probably should have put 14 more points up on the board. So, we got to continue to cut down those mistakes. And, in these type games obviously we got to win the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball to, set up our running game and be able to let our linebackers run around and make plays. And, this type of game and, early round of playoffs, you can't have dumb penalties. You come in here, one team's going to keep on playing, and when the other team realizes they're not going to keep on playing, dumb starts to happen a lot of times. So we got to make sure that, no dumb penalties and anything that costs this football team.
All right, this Friday night, 7 o'clock here at Burley Stadium. It'll be Greeneville, it'll be Fulton. Round 1 of the TSSAA Class 4A playoffs. Once again, thank you, Coach, for sitting down with me once again.
Thanks, man. Go Devils.
Region 1 4A champs 3 years in a row. Greeneville hosts Fulton this week. That's all we've got this week. Thank you all for watching this week's edition of the Greeneville Federal Bank Eddie Spradlen Show. Look forward to seeing you next time here on Grassroots Media.